Hi, Mindful Millionaire community. It's the Leisa and Deanna show. Hello, everybody. So we'll give folks time to arrive. How are you, Deanna? Are you able to hear me okay? Let's see. Can you hear me, Deanna?
Yeah,
Okay,
I can.
awesome. Just checking.
Yeah.
And I will go ahead and when questions come in, I will share those with you. And how are you doing today? We'll just talk
I'm
for a
doing
minute.
great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How's the
I'm
weather
excited
in
to be here
Reno?
with you. It's as it gets this time of the year, it was 60 last week, it's going to be 90 next week. So we're in that in-between phase, but it's beautiful out there today.
Oh, good, good. I think it's in the 80s, low 80s here in Santa Margarita. And Dottie is with us. Hello,
Hey, Dottie.
Dottie. Definitely let us know who's out there joining us, where you're dialing in from, and if you're catching the replay, go ahead and put hashtag replay. Let us know where you're listening from. That helps us keep an eye on what's going on out there and who's joining, and we want this to be super interactive. So please, 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 will we be on camera? No, Dottie, you don't have to worry about being on camera. We won't see you, but we will be able to see your comments. So I will be able to share with Deanna whatever comments you put in the comments.
Okay.
That's comments in the comments. Okay.
Comments in the comments.
Oh, I'm on vacation, so we'll see how this goes. You know how you try and turn your brain off for a few days? I've done that. But this is really good because we're going to be tuning in and seeing how we're doing. O'Brien Wilson, live from Reno.
Hey, O'Brien.
So thank you for joining us. I'm so happy you're here. And Deanna and I have known each other for a long time, like 6 years. Yeah,
it's been a while, I know.
Yeah. Hi, Debbie. Yeah. Debbie lives in North Lake Tahoe area. So that's fun. We got a lot of people from the Reno, Sacramento, Tahoe area. Welcome, everybody. So I didn't bring your formal bios, so maybe you could tell us, just start by giving us a little brief introduction to you. Would that be okay? I mean, I will say that we've been friends. Deanna's helped me as I have run into some walls and been like, okay, what do I do now? She is just the most compassionate, deep listener with amazing healing tools. We're going to do tapping today, but there's a lot of other things that matrix re-imprinting, is that how you say one of them?
That's
and
correct.
Some hypnosis and cravings work. And I mean, there's a long list of things, but do you want to tell us a little more about you and then we'll dive in?
Sure. Well, it's evolved. I think many of us that are in these practices over time, it evolves. And so where I am now is I serve health conscious men and women as a somatic mindful eating mentor and a stress management coach. And so I emphasize the somatic piece because in the eating area, there is a bit of a mind-body disconnection, and even in the mindfulness community, it still is sometimes very external about the food. And the work that I do is we're going to attune to what's going on in the body, so in the soma, as well as in the mind, and we're going to connect the two. And I consider myself a mentor because I'm definitely on my journey, but I'm really onto some cool things that are really affecting change for people and even for myself. So that's why I've decided to kind of come out and and start working with people formally on that. And then the stress management piece, well, that's what drove me to get into coaching. I was under a lot of stress as a director for a national nonprofit in their travel and meetings large event, 500 to 600 people events, and I was overseeing some staff and doing all kinds of things, and my stress level was off the charts. And so I've done a lot of work around that, and all of these tools have come together. And so I offer those in a coaching practice. And you've kind of, said some of the terms. I put it all together. It's an eclectic mix. There's energy work, there's tapping, there's hypnosis, there's the somatic experiencing. While I'm not a formal somatic experiencing practitioner, I still am able to use a lot of those tools and help people. So I was probably a little longer than you wanted, but
no,
there it is.
Great. And you're in Reno, Nevada, and Nevadan all your life, pretty much, right?
I really have been, yeah. I was born and raised here in Reno. I did a little detour to Tonopah, Nevada for high school. So if folks know about Nevada, it's, Las Vegas is on one end and Reno is on the other. And Tonopah is smack dab in the middle of
nowhere.
It was a great place. I still have some of my best friends from there. And then after college, I also went down to the Bay Area for about a year and a half. And then I came back to Reno. I love to travel, but Reno is really home.
That's awesome. That's great. And we wanted to have this be really interactive. So we're hoping, and we're kind of making this up as we go, but we're hoping that folks will give us some of the tapping, how would I say this? What would you call it? Plant the seed, and then you and I could work with that energy together with everyone else participating. So maybe we could just talk about big picture, about tapping and why it's so effective and why you've continued to return to it again and again. And I also use it, but not quite as much as you do. Could you give us a little introduction to tapping?
Sure. Well, what tapping does is it works with the fight or flight response and really the primitive parts of the brain, and it connects that through tapping on energy meridian endpoints that are used in acupressure or acupuncture, except we're not using needles. We're just lightly tapping on these points in order to stimulate the electrical energy that may be, there might be a disturbance somewhere. And the tapping talks to the non-thinking part of the brain. And then the talking that we do in conjunction with the tapping actually talks to the thinking part of the brain. So we're bringing the two parts together. As opposed to just working on the body, we're also working on the mind. And we're not just working on the mind, we're bringing the body along. And oftentimes there's a mismatch, and tapping can be one of those things that really allows insights to bubble up quickly and shift things to shift in short order. And it's a really good interactive thing so that you and we don't have to know all the details, but as the interaction starts and the dialogue between, if you're doing it for yourself, it's, you're dialoguing with yourself, or if you're working with somebody, that exchange along with the energy movement, it really creates, a shift rapidly. And the other thing that's really cool, there's a couple things that I love about it, is that it's easy to learn. You can't really do it wrong unless you don't do it at all. I'll show some quick shortcuts today, and you can use it on anything. So if you're having physical pain, you can work on the physical pain. If there's an emotional thing going on, you can work on that. If there's spiritual. If you're happy and you really want to expand that, a lot of people forget about that, but tapping can also expand that and bring that out. So that's one of the, a few of the reasons why I love it so much.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And, today we were talking, originally the series was oriented around the pandemic and about the things that we've been facing. And I know that both food and money, and I think that's what we'll include in today's conversation, is food and money are affected by the pandemic. For example, I have noticed as I've been heading out that I'm not the only one who gained some weight during the pandemic, sitting a little bit more than we had planned in the springtime, having the gym shut down, all of those things. And so getting back on the roller coaster of having it be more routine is not easy, because I figure we broke, if we had habits for exercising or for eating, and then for that 60 days, we did something different and we created new habits, which might not be the habits that we want. And now we're wanting to get the old habits back. Could you use tapping to help you do that?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. I'm liking this. Like how could we, I mean, is there a way that we could tune into that and kind of show folks?
Sure. So, what you were describing is that there was a habit that you built and it was going well, and then something happened and there created a shift. And you want to get back into the habit that felt good, right? And I wonder if there's kind of almost two parts of you, where there's one part that wants to do it. So now that you've kind of gotten out of the habit, there's part of you that really wants to go to the gym and kind of get rocking and rolling. And there's the other part that's like, no, I'd rather hang out and watch Netflix. Yeah.
I think so. Or just even, dare I say it, because I'm like a generator, I'm always going, but like, I kind of liked being a little more lazy. Like, there was some joy in laziness, but now I'm like, yeah, but my 53-year-old body is like, girlfriend, you can't really be too lazy, because yeah, that's what's going on. So those are the parts of me in this case.
Okay.
Not sure if it applies to anyone else, but since it's just you and I'm hoping maybe folks, everyone. So we've got Kat here, we've got Dot, Gloria, we've got O'Brien, we've got others, and Dottie, obviously. So let us know, what you think. Like, is any of this applicable, or would you like to get some assistance as far as habits are concerned with maybe exercise, eating? Because those are the two things I think we're playing with here. So in the notes, feel free to share what you think, but because we could do anything. I mean, but this was something that came to me, and maybe you can speak to that, and then I'll go back to the questions when
Sure. The other thing that's nice about tapping in a group, and while you and I are on camera, the rest of the folks, whether they're listening live or later, they're still a part of the community. And Gary Craig and Roger Callahan were the original founders of tapping or emotional freedom techniques. And they talk about borrowed benefits. So even if your situation isn't exactly the same as Lisa's, you're still going to get borrowed benefits by tapping along with us. And the other thing about that is it increases the energetic movement for all of us, whatever is going on. So as I guide you, I ask everybody to kind of tune in to what is going on with them. If they notice that they have the same issue, I'm going to ask you to rate here in just a moment. I'll ask the participants to do the same on their side, whether it's the same issue or they have something else they're kind of working along side by side, so they can get a sense of what shifts as we do a tapping round. Yeah,
that's beautiful. And so I am getting a few things. Catherine said there's a good thing inside of a bad habit sometimes that we cling to. So she was agreeing with us. Gloria said, you're spot on. Exercise has been on and off, but so far this month, 3, I need more help. And then Dottie said, yeah, suggestions for reforming new, healthier habits. Really easy to sit around and feeling our age.
Okay.
Yeah, because we want to feel younger. And that's what we all want. Yeah. And I think there is some understanding that like exercise and good eating habits does actually make you feel younger. And funny enough, this week I've been like, I don't know, catching myself. And Zoe took a picture of me in the car sleeping with my mouth open, one of those, sent it to me. And it was so not flattering. And I'm like, who is that woman? So yeah, okay, that was frightening. That just happened. And I was like, I love my family. They are really, really not very nice to me, but
it's all part of the fun.
I know, exactly. I sleep with my mouth open in the car, and yeah. It's not pretty. So
you have some pictures of her that she.
I bet I do. I know, that's right. I better find some. Dottie said the years are flying by. I would agree with that. So, okay. So what do you got for us?
So let's see if we can dive into this. So the habits, you'd like to get back into the habits, but you also kind of like, the healthy habits, but you also like a little bit of the laziness. And I'm wondering if you were to, to me that sounds like you're conflicted a little bit. Is that a good word?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So if we just put a rating on it to give us a reference point, the intensity of the conflicted feeling that you're having. 0, it's not there. 10, it's off the charts. Where would you put it now?
7.
Okay. And how do you know that's a 7? Like, if you kind of scan your body, do you notice any tension or heat or lack of sensation or?
What came to me was that number at first, and then also that the desire to be more motivated around exercise is probably more like a 9 or 10. And the desire for laziness is probably like a 5. So it was a blend of the two where I got 7.
Okay. Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and let's do a little tapping if you're ready.
Okay. Yes.
For everybody else that has not experienced it, tapping is really just Simon Says. So whatever I say, you'll say. Whatever I do, you'll do. Just follow along. And if the words need to be shifted a little bit, Leisa, if mine aren't quite right, please, when you do repeat, adjust them so that they really fit your situation the best.
Okay.
Okay. We're going to go to the side of the hand. Even though. I'm conflicted.
I'm conflicted.
Part of me wants to get motivated.
Part of me wants to get motivated.
And part of me kind of likes being a little lazy.
And part of me wants to be motivated and part of me wants to be lazy.
Yeah. And I love and accept all parts of me.
And I love and accept all parts of me.
The ones that are a little lazy.
The ones that are a little lazy.
And the ones that are ready to get motivated.
And the ones that are ready to get motivated.
And all of them in between.
And all of them in between.
Yeah. Now we're just going to go up here to the top of the head. I realized I feel good being a little lazy.
I realized that I feel good being a little lazy.
Before the pandemic. I was running all the time.
I was exercising all the time.
Yeah. And I like to exercise. It feels good. And I'd like to do it again. I'd like to do more of it now. But this pause. I'm going to also show kind of an awkward spot that a lot of people skip, and it's awkward for me to even show on camera, but it's right below the breast.
Oh,
and then
okay.
We're going to get a lot of people skip this one.
Okay.
But this is a liver point, and the liver, for those people that know about acupuncture, that's, there's a lot of anger that kind of processes through there, so I like to include this one as well. So there's an opportunity to shift. We're going to go over here to under the arm. It's kind of at the bra strap level. And then I'm going to take my camera back up so you're not just looking at those.
That's awesome. Thank you.
And part of me is ready for the shift.
And part of me still down here?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
It's okay.
Still part of me is ready for the shift.
And part of me is not.
And part of me, we can do whatever we want. Here, I just am so
Yeah,
trained.
you can. Okay. Some people do this, and I actually do the top and the bottom. But
Okay.
You can short circuit it and do it this way. Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
And this is all good. Let's go ahead and pause for just a minute because we are getting that initial, like, where are the points and what are we doing?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, and even though this was wasn't exactly a smooth round of tapping, I'm curious if that level of 7 shifted. It may have gone up or down or stayed the same, and I'm curious where we are.
So this is the blend between the two.
Yeah, there's that conflicted feeling where part of you desires to be motivated and part of you desires the laziness.
Yeah. Well, what I'm noticing is that I feel really comfortable with both of them being kind of like separate, and it's okay to so it just came down the numbers 5, but it's also, I'm just noticing more spaciousness between the two.
Okay.
Where I can be motivated and not have to have that conflict with the laziness. It's like, I just noticed that I can do both.
Okay.
My idea of laziness, I think if anybody hangs out with me, it's like, it's kind of a skewed idea of laziness. It's like I'm going to lay down and read People magazine for 5 minutes, and like that's my idea of laziness, But I'm just feeling into this. There has been a time during this whole pandemic where it's like, questioning sort of how much is enough, how much time is enough to spend, working on the body. It's been very interesting. And I think it's been a healthy thing, because I think in our society, we're so fixated by, well, some of us we gotta always be moving, gotta always be doing this. And I think I saw something else that was very enjoyable in the pandemic.
Okay. And so you found some spaciousness. The desire to be motivated was at a 9 or a 10 when we started. Mm-hmm. Where is that now?
8.
Okay. And then the laziness.
I'm just watching it like a thermometer.
Yeah.
It's just like way low. I'm not afraid of it.
Not afraid of it. Okay. So we're just gonna we have limited time, but things are moving, which is beautiful. Let's just do another round and see where we end with that.
Okay.
Okay. So even though there's been a shift.
There's been a shift.
I can have both a little bit of laziness.
I can have a little bit of laziness.
And that motivation. They can coexist. And not necessarily be in conflict.
And I
really like that. And I'd like to grow that as best I can.
Now
we're going to start working our way back through the points. We'll go to the top of the head. A little laziness. It's not a bad thing. Sometimes it's good to take a break. And we got a forced break. And it gave a different viewpoint. And some of it I liked and some of it I didn't. And some of it I can see can benefit me. And we'll get this spot again.
Down below.
And I'm ready to let the lessons that are to come in. And now actually apply them. In a different way. I am different. I have grown. And I have changed. And I will continue to do that. Allowing a little bit more time to myself. And to take a break. And to also get the work in for my body, mind, and spirit as needed. Let's go ahead and pause there. How you doing?
Good. I love it. I love the
Yeah.
slowing down and kind of thinking about um, integration. I read something or heard somebody say how, as human beings, we don't, kind of a cliche would be we don't stop and smell the roses, in the West especially. We have these lives that are very oriented to going, going, going. And the pandemic, for many of us, shifted that perception ever so slightly enough, to start questioning assumptions in the construction of our days and how we spend our time and how much we work, and questioning if that's really the best for us as human beings, taking more time. Like one thing I did, and maybe this will just bring to mind other things for other people, but before the pandemic, I didn't even know that there was this pond down the street. Like I'd never walked to it before. And when the pandemic hit and I couldn't go to the gym, then every day, either at lunch or after, work, I would go down and walk around the pond and then walk up this kind of circle. And we would do that as a family sometimes, or just myself. And like those turned into just these incredibly beautiful experiences that I'm almost embarrassed to say I wasn't doing before the pandemic. Like I just didn't find the time. Like that makes me sad right now in this moment that we miss these beautiful opportunities to see a different part of life because we're so busy with the things that we're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, if there hasn't been anything specific come in, would you be interested to do around a tapping around the sadness that's just come up?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. So that sadness, if you tune in and you had put your hand to your heart, I wonder if that's where it sits in your body, if you notice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's self-love. Like loving yourself so much that you make time for the things that are actually very important.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the sadness was because you...
Like how much time has been lost. Oh, this is like really emotional. Like how much time has been lost in this lifetime at 53 without, like I said, smelling the roses or walking around the pond or, going on those walks and just decompressing. Like how much time has been lost. Mm-hmm.
Has been lost to that. Okay. And so the sadness, as you tune to it now, in this moment right here where we are, 0 to 10. 0, you're not sad. 10, it's off the charts. Where do you find yourself now?
Probably like a 7, 8. Yeah, kind of bubbles.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go here.
Okay.
Even though this sadness bubbled up.
This sadness bubbled up.
Bubbled up, yep. And it's about a 7 on a scale of 0 to 10.
Mm-hmm. You like 7-ish, and I'm just also picking up something Catherine said. What else am I missing? Have I missed because I've been going? And I think that is there.
Yeah,
totally. So
we'll
incorporate that in. Thank you, Catherine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So much has been missed.
So much has been missed.
And that makes me sad.
And that makes me sad.
And even though I'm sad, I'm also okay.
I'm also okay.
Let's go ahead and start working our way now through the points. This sadness. There's so much that I've missed. I went for a walk. And found new things that I didn't even know were in my neighborhood.
And
And I've been here for a long time.
not that long of a time.
Oh, this is your new neighborhood. That's why you got to shift it up, right? But either way.
Either way. It was symbolic of something.
I didn't know of before.
Yeah, it's symbolic.
Yeah. And I don't know what else
I've missed along the way.
Because I've been so busy.
Oops. I've been so busy. And so productive.
And getting stuff done. Got to get a lot done. And I like that part of myself.
Most
but
of
I
the
also
time.
Don't that.
What was that? I don't want to stop.
And I don't want to be left out of things either.
Yeah, I don't want to miss out on that either. Like creating stuff.
And I can't go back.
You can't go back.
And collect what was lost.
And
I just don't know all of what was lost. And what else I might have missed. And that's made me sad. Yeah. Let's go ahead and pause now. And take a nice breath in. You know, sometimes it's good to just take a breath in and let it out. If you have water, you know, when you're tapping or you're doing any kind of energy work, it's good to engage the breath and you know, getting some extra hydration as we go. And when we started, Leisa, you were at a 7 when you tuned into that sadness. What do you notice now?
Like a 5. It's okay. 4.
And what's remaining? Like what do you notice now that's left over?
Nothing. I think when we were going through it, I'm just looking at the notes. I'm going to share them with you. I'm just going to, before I lose the thought, that it's like the yin and the yang and being able to bounce, you know, back and forth and seeing how they can pull. And I think what I know I want is more of this balanced space. And so this is just showing me, like, I'm feeling the opportunity to make a more conscious choice that when I'm paying attention to what it looks like in the middle, then I might encourage myself, like, put the pen down, go for that walk. You know, put the phone down, go spend time with your family. You know, like I do that, but I think there's always opportunity to do more of it. So that's where, you know, the tension might reside and the sadness might reside. But right now I feel like it's in a really beautiful place. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll just add a few things. So Dottie said, or thrown away. So I'm not sure what she meant there. What else am I missing? Or thrown away, maybe because I've been going. That might be what she means, but you can let us know, Dottie. I have a poor connection today. Okay, it's freezing, so you'll watch the replay. Okay, we can't wait for you to see that. And then Catherine was just saying, Leisa, who gets shit done. Got a job to do. I mean, it probably doesn't help that I've been launching a book in the middle of a pandemic and that the date's changing. I mean, there's a lot going on here. But you know what? As my husband would say, Leisa, there's always a lot going on in your life. So, like, you can't use that as an excuse. So, but to me, what you're showing me personally, and I'd love to get feedback from those who are doing this with us, like what's going on for you. Are you noticing some nuances or some things that you're seeing? But just the acceptance, like what I'm feeling right now is just the acceptance that by paying more attention to it and touching the meridian points, I'm integrating things that I didn't even know were actually causing me some suffering, maybe unconsciously. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah. Absolutely. And it's one of the reasons why in tapping we don't shy away from that sadness.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually, like you said, integrating it, bringing it into the fold, letting that part that feels sad have its experience of sadness. And then as that energy moves, it liberates us to then find that more integrated place, that more, acceptance of ourselves, instead of holding away that part that's sad. Oh, I shouldn't be sad. Everybody else's problems are bigger than mine. That was one of my very early mantras. And actually, I was told that a lot too. Yeah. And it was true in some regard. But yet in that moment, there's sadness.
Right.
And we have these feelings, but we are not these feelings. We are so much more. There's an expansiveness. And
there is
allowing that to come in.
Dottie's tuning into something, and I think that we could do this together, and I'm going to even explain it probably back to Dottie, because she's giving me little notes, but here's the thought, okay? And I've seen this one. There's a belief for a lot of people, especially in the West, where we have squandered money or thrown money away. I mean, we spent it, right? But it feels like it just kind of got flushed down the toilet, right? So right now we're going into this economic recession, and we don't actually, I mentioned when Jenny was on the program, I talked about the fact that literally, and it's still like this, folks, we are standing on the beach and we are watching the water go out, and we have no idea what's going to come back at us. Okay. That's still happening. Like, it's not, we don't know yet what this all looks like, how it all plays out. So for that reason, conscious or unconscious, there's a fear that if I had only held on to it, or my parents had held on to it, because that's also what Dottie is sort of implying, because I had family who just spent it all and there was nothing for the rainy days. There was no money left over for the rainy days, and it got really stressful. Could we incorporate that into something that we do together? Of ultimate forgiveness for ourselves, and also for family members or partners or ex-husbands or ex-wives, like, all of that. Is there?
Yeah. So there's fear that's underlying that belief, right? Mm-hmm. So
that we made mistakes in the past. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
That are going to hurt us going forward financially, or cause us more suffering maybe than we should have to endure. And anyone who wants to add to that, like, just give us some notes or thoughts. Like, does this make sense if we were to dive into this? The idea that I haven't saved enough, done enough, whatever, earned enough to be in a really good position right now. The regrets. Okay, yes, the regrets. Dottie said, yeah, we're on the right thread.
Okay. And where I'm thinking that we want to start is, like you say, there's those regrets, but underlying those regrets is the fear of what might happen, right? If we're on the beach and the water's going out, we don't know what's going to happen. There's all this fear that we can link those beliefs into. Is that
beautiful?
Making sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So back to the beginning of just getting a sense of where you are right now in this moment. That fear. Let's put it on a scale of 0 to 10.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to tune in to those listening, and it's a 8-9.
Okay. Then let's go ahead and just go with it. Okay. I'm not going to do so much about the body because we're really kind of attuning all around. It might show up as we do this, though, too.
Okay.
So let's go to the side of the hand. Even though. We're standing on the beach. And we're watching the water go out. And we don't know what's going to come back. And that's creating fear. There's a lot of unknown. A lot of what ifs. And even though there's all this fear. in this very moment, right here, right now.
In this very moment, right here, right now.
I can feel the air around me.
I can feel the air around me.
I can feel my feet on the floor or wherever they are.
I can feel my feet on the floor.
I can hear these voices.
I can hear these voices.
And I can see these images.
I can see these images.
Which means I'm okay.
Which means I'm okay.
Let's go ahead and take our tapping to the top of the head. All this fear.
All this fear.
If only I'd held on to whatever money I had.
Only I'd held on to whatever money I had.
If only my ancestors had held on to it all.
If only my ancestors had held on to it all.
If only my family had held on to it all.
If only my family had held on to it all.
I might have a lot more right now.
I might have a lot more right now.
If I hadn't flushed so much of it down the toilet.
If I hadn't flushed so much of it down the toilet.
I might have more too.
I might have more too.
If I would have saved for those rainy days.
If I would have saved for those rainy days.
Like everybody's told me to do.
Like everyone's told me to do.
And sometimes I've done it.
And sometimes I've done it.
And sometimes I haven't.
And sometimes I haven't.
So many mistakes I've made in the past.
So many mistakes I've made in the past.
I've squandered money and time.
I've squandered money and time.
And now I'm not sure I can get it back.
And now I'm not sure if I can get it back.
And I'm not sure what that means for my future.
And I'm not sure what that means for my future.
No wonder I'm feeling fearful.
No wonder I'm feeling fearful.
I want to figure it out.
I want to figure it out.
And I'm not exactly sure all of what I can do.
And I'm not exactly sure all that I can do.
To alleviate any suffering I might endure.
To alleviate any suffering I might endure.
So I might as well suffer now.
So I might as well suffer now.
That way I can be prepared to suffer later.
That way I can be prepared to suffer later.
Then again, maybe I can take the bull by the horns.
Maybe I can take the bull by the horns.
And pick one thing to work on right now.
And pick one thing to work on right now.
Something solid that I can get a hold of.
Something solid that I can get a hold of.
And create some simple steps.
And create some simple steps.
And take my power back.
And take my power back.
Because whatever happened in the past happened.
Because whatever happened in the past happened.
And we really don't know what's going to happen in the future.
We don't know what's going to happen in the future.
But I can take charge today.
But I can take charge today.
Of one simple thing.
Of one simple thing.
Yeah, let's go ahead and pause now. And as we breathe, and again, take a little sip of water if you are inclined. And then checking back in, Lisa, as you do for the community. We started out about an 8 or a 9.
Mm-hmm. I feel it coming down, maybe a 7. I think there's also questions coming up. And feel free to post questions as they come up. Gloria mentioned that she had worked on herself, things got better, then she had to help her son and restart again, and then COVID happened. And I think not everybody, but a lot of people have these situations where life just always brings events in and we're reconfiguring, surprises, pivots, change of events, whatever, business not getting going as fast as we thought it would go. Like maybe there's a little fine tuning in that space of shit happens kind of thing. And then, and rather than it being many times we feel that heaviness of it happened, now I've just got to struggle. Maybe there's something on the other side of that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Upsets rarely bring us into like, I think rarely do we feel like upsets helped us. But what if we did? That'd be kind of amazing. So, okay.
Yeah. So we started at 8 or 9. We're down to maybe a 7. And would you say it's still fear, or is the focus more on these upsets?
What's sticking out is regret. Dottie confirmed that regret. And Dottie, I don't know if there's something else you want to add to that, what she just asked, or Gloria. But guilt, regret, those are coming up pretty strong. Like, we should be able to avoid those upsets from happening. I think that's where the guilt is coming in.
Okay. So let's go ahead and go to the side of the hand. Even though there's all these regrets.
There's all these regrets.
There's all this guilt.
There's all this guilt.
Because something I should have done.
Something I should have done.
Would have avoided all of this pain.
Would have avoided all this pain. And I will just say, like, that I didn't even, it's like I should have done it, but I didn't even know what I would have done. Like, yeah, you know, there's even, it's like, how could I have avoided that kind of thing?
Right. Yeah. How could I have avoided it if I didn't know it was coming? Mm-hmm. Because these things keep coming from out of nowhere.
These things keep coming from out of nowhere.
And I'm going to forgive myself as best I can.
I'm going to forgive myself as best I can.
In this moment.
In this moment.
Let's go ahead and start working our way through the points. Shit keeps happening.
Shit keeps happening.
Every time I think I'm getting it together.
Every time I think I'm getting it together.
Something comes from out of nowhere.
Something comes from out of nowhere.
I get things fixed for myself.
I get things fixed for myself.
And then something else shows up.
And then something else shows up.
It might be for a family or a friend.
It might be a family or friend.
And it knocks me off my center.
And it knocks me off my center.
Yeah, I'm getting both sides of the collarbone, so you can do one or the other, or I'm hitting like this. So.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'd like to be able to avoid and control the situation.
I'd like to be able to control the situation. My financial,
and I do a lot to
control my financial situation. I'd like to be able to control my financial situation.
But when all these upsets keep showing up.
When all these upsets keep showing up.
All these different variables.
All these different variables.
Surprises.
Surprises.
Changes of events.
Changes of events.
It makes it hard to fine-tune.
Makes it hard to fine-tune.
And then I look back.
And then I look back.
And I see what I could have done.
I see what I could have done.
What I should have done.
What I should have done.
What I didn't do.
What I didn't do.
Because I didn't have a rear view mirror.
Because I didn't have a rear view mirror.
I was looking forward.
I was looking forward.
And trying to figure things out from where I sat at that time.
And trying to figure things out from where I sat at that time.
Now I can look back and see what I could have, should have, would have done.
Now I can see what I could have, should have, would have done. Something about being more responsible, I think, is Dottie. That's coming through. Let's see. Just want to see. And how the heck do I prepare for the impending unknown?
Yeah. I should have been more responsible in the past.
Should have been more responsible in the past.
And I wasn't.
It's something a little different than that. Let me see what it is.
Beautiful, thank you.
It's like, I feel like I've tried. I feel like I've been trying to be responsible, and it still hasn't worked. It hasn't caused me to be immune from the suffering. You see that little twist?
Yeah. That no matter what I've done, and no matter what I've tried, the suffering keeps coming up.
Yeah, the suffering keeps coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't avoid it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no avoiding the suffering. Because just when I think I might be getting close,
Mm-hmm.
something comes from out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. Something comes from out of nowhere.
Yeah, let's go ahead and pause here. Yeah, thank you.
And even, here we're taking these comments and stuff and I'm incorporating them. What it feels like is the energy is shifting together. It's also fascinating. I think this is one of, I'm really witnessing it right now, where we can become a collective entity where our energy is helping each of us sort of move through these different phases, or at least have conscious awareness of these things. So it's like we kind of drop away the things that aren't maybe as important as we thought, and then the more the bigger themes start to come through that might be like harder to kind of look at, because life, my Buddhist path comes up here because so much of what Buddha taught was about suffering, the Four Noble Truths, right? That it isn't in the avoidance of the suffering, it's actually in the acknowledgement and the witnessing and the allowing of the suffering that is where our pathway to freedom can be found. So when we resist, it persists. But when we allow, it softens and we can find a new pathway. So Catherine said, if the tide is going out and we don't know what's going to come back in, then how the hell do I prepare for the impending unknown? And then Gloria said, I also do that with money. I give it away when it comes. Is it the same? Oh, interesting. I give it away.
Yeah. And in that, I think, when you're giving it away. And so one of the things that we can also do is, to just tap and talk, as we go. And sometimes it can be helpful just to grab the collarbone point.
Mm-hmm.
And other times you can go around, or if you find another point that you get relief from. Mm-hmm. This is one of the shortcuts that I like to teach people. You might not be in a position, or you might not feel like it. You can grab one point. Collarbone's one of my favorites. And that part that doesn't feel like, the part that feels like it has to give it away when I get it, you can even dialogue with that, Gloria, and dialogue with, when I get it, I feel like I have to give it away. And so that's one of the reasons I like the collarbone as well. I can sort of tap on one side. Part of me feels like when I have it, I need to give it away. Part of me would like to save enough so that there's plenty for me too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Part of me...
Dottie brought up selfish.
Yeah.
Like it's okay to be selfish.
Right. Yeah. Part of me doesn't want to seem selfish. Mm-hmm. And part of me, or to be selfish even, part of me doesn't want to be selfish. And part of me wants to be selfish. Part of me is not okay with being selfish. And part of me is learning that it's okay to take care of myself too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And there may be a lot wrapped up in that observation of what it means to be selfish. Like even the definition of that can be examined more closely.
Right. And so this is a really lovely way to take that on and see what comes up. And as you're doing that, you're actually shifting that awareness. You could see it's starting to shift even with us a little bit. We've got a limited amount of time, so there's
yeah.
It makes it a little trickier, how far we can get with it. But I'm hoping that you can see that even that. And if you take something that's a 10 and you bring it down to a 5, well, that's way better than dragging it around as a 10 for the next day or two, and all that does to your body. Mm-hmm. And, to all the other things. If you can start to liberate, you really are liberating that energy. Mm-hmm. As you start to have this compassionate discussion, through the tapping.
This is beautiful, but I think that this conversation, because of these times, I would love it if you could just tune into like what Catherine presented. And it may not be an exercise, it may be a teaching, but like all of us, whether it's you go to the doctors and you find out you have cancer, you find out that you don't have enough money for the things that you thought you had. Like, life is going to present each of us, or a family member gets sick, right? Or you get sick. Life is going to present us with these situations that could mean, difficult times ahead. How can we use this to help us when there are no logical answers, or time is going to be the thing that we need, right? Or navigation, but like there's the practical element, which I think many of us know what to do, but if we're so caught up in the emotion of that thing, like I teach, it becomes this sort of scarcity bubble that we can't see all the possibilities. So anything to just like, there aren't answers for a lot of the questions that we work on with tapping. Anything you want to say to that?
Yeah, the thing that I find that works really well with that is to start tapping on all of those thoughts. And you may not know the setup. A lot of people get hung up, and I was one of those that I didn't know how to do it, and I couldn't do it right, and so I didn't do it at all for a few years. But it's what I like to tell people is truth tell and talk it out. And as you do that, the truth will set you free. And it's the good, bad, and the ugly. You don't be afraid to you don't need to sugarcoat it. Even Louise Hay talks like you have to dust your house, right? So it's okay to have this time as you're doing that. So if I were to take that and put it into practice, I would just start tapping. What do I do now?
What do I do now?
I don't know.
I don't know.
This is overwhelming.
This is overwhelming.
The whole world is on fire.
The whole world is on fire.
And different things keep showing up.
Different things keep showing up.
Just about the time we think there's some kind of normalcy.
Mm-hmm. Just about the time that we think there's some kind of normalcy.
Something else comes up.
Something else comes up.
Life keeps presenting all these new things.
Life keeps presenting all these new things.
I could get sick.
I could get sick.
Someone I love could get sick.
Someone I love could get sick. I could lose all my money.
I could lose all of my money. Mm-hmm. I could lose my house.
Lose my house.
Or where I live.
Where I live.
There are so many what ifs that could happen.
There are so many what ifs that could happen.
And particularly right now. They look a little closer than they did before.
They look a little closer than they did before.
And now I wished I would have taken more time and care.
Now I wish I would have taken more time and care.
And not squandered so much.
Not squandered
so many of my resources.
Not squandered my resources, my time, my energy, my life.
Yeah. And so I have no clue what to do. And that freaks me out.
Mm-hmm. That freaks me out.
Because I want to have an answer. And I want to call 1-800-THE-ANSWER and get it right now.
I want to call 1-800, give me the answer now.
Because if I can dial that line.
Can Siri please answer all my questions?
And I'll have the answer. And I'm just not sure what to do. And I'm going to pause here because I'm curious, even in that, Leisa, if you could notice a little bit of spaciousness or shifting coming in with that.
Totally. Yeah.
So we don't know. We don't have the answers. But then, as you start to notice that little bit of a shift starting to occur, then you can start to say, I still don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I am noticing that my shoulders are relaxing a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm noticing that I can breathe a little bit more. And I still don't have the answers.
Mm-hmm.
And I still wish I had all the answers.
Mm-hmm.
But I can take a deep breath. And I can, choose one thing to do right here, right now.
Mm.
And so it's catching what's going on, what is, and just grabbing it and really being truthful with it, and creating as much spaciousness as you can, and know that whatever you do, it's perfect. You don't always have to get down to a zero, and you don't have to say the right thing or do the right thing. I mean, some of the tapping I did earlier wasn't perfect. I train people how to tap, and I'm not perfect either. It's such a forgiving tool that goes a long ways, and I call it the Swiss Army knife. Everybody should have it in their back pocket because you can use it in so many different ways.
It's so beautiful. No, I think that folks, Catherine said, you have to see the dirt to clean it. You can't get rid of something by not looking at it. For me, the acknowledgement and the tapping is the most powerful thing.
Yeah, thank you, Catherine.
Yeah, totally. Because all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's what it was. Like, it forces you to kind of focus on what's going on for yourself, bringing the unconscious into the conscious and feeling like there's hope that you could help yourself.
Right. Because if it was, and what you just said, right, is that that unconscious, if it was conscious, you would have thought of it already. But these tools like tapping and some of the other beautiful tools that are out there allow us to tap into it, right? We can actually then bring those unconscious answers forward. And yeah, thank you, Catherine. She actually helped me, remind me of that, that interview with Nick Ortner and Louise Hay. It's just so cool to bring those pieces forward. And it was kind of fun if you search that, to watch Louise Hay tap on herself. And she's like, where did that come from?
That's awesome.
But if it were conscious, she'd have thought of it, and so, and I especially encourage you, when you're in those really dark moments where you're really anxious, go ahead and add the tapping to it, because you will move the energy, you will connect the mind and the body, and there will be some shift. Sometimes it'll be really perceptible and it'll be huge, and sometimes it might be slight, but you'll be giving yourself the gift of loving yourself, accepting yourself, even in that state of angst, even in that state of sadness. And, when energy gets stagnant, there's a resistance that created, but when we start to move it and it flows, magical things can happen. Totally. And they really do.
Beautiful, beautiful. And you have a gift that you were offering up to some folks who want to tag you. I mean, we could do tagging, but you want to talk about what you've got?
Yeah, tagging might be the easiest way. So what I'd like to offer is those that are listening, I've got room for 6 free sessions, 30-minute sessions. They'd be a laser focus session on one topic, one thing that is bothering you, if that might be money, or it might be food, or it might be relationship. And because it's 30 minutes, we'll have to be really lasered and see what we can uncover. I promise it's not a selling. You actually tag me and say, and actually, why don't you private message me? I think that might be the way to do that, is to send me a private message, and I'll send you a calendar link, and you can set it up at a time that works, mutually for the two of us. And let's see if we can't break through some of these different things that are haunting you or that bothering you, and give you some more space to do the things you really want to do.
That's beautiful. And we'll also go ahead. Your website is DeannaLyons.com. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. I type it sometimes and go and find your picture and other good things there. But you talk about some of the services that you provide there.
I do.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of good information, and I have a YouTube channel as well. So I have a variety of guided meditations and some tapping and some prior, different things that I have going on. It's definitely I'm not, my YouTube channel isn't all polished up and perfect. My husband saw one of them last night. He goes, "Yeah, the light was terrible on that. The sound wasn't perfect." Like, I know.
Yes.
But it's okay, That's we're all, we all have our quirks, and so if I wait till it's perfect, boy, I'll be waiting a long time before I get anything out.
I am so, like, I've created a lot of stuff, and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, it's really time. I should go back and like redo all these things. And I'm like, I don't think I have it in me. Like, imperfect action is really, I'm a perfect example of it too. And I think that that's awesome, because if we waited for it to be perfect, we compare ourselves to those big name Hay House authors, and it's like we're running a like small little team, and we're trying to get it together and be really helpful. And I love it. Take action. Gloria said a couple things I want to share with you. She said, first of all, that's a sweet offer. Thank you very much for that. And then she also said, I heard someone describe COVID as we thought we were on a marathon, but it's really a triathlon.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't think I could do either of them. So yeah, so I'm here in California, and Zoe said just now the governor instituted masks for all public, anything in public. You need to wear a mask from now on.
You need to wear a mask.
Yeah. And I kind of, with the data that's coming out, I think that's everything's leaning in that direction. But we have our masks, we're ready, but yeah, you're right. Totally. I think that our resiliency, all the tools that all of us who have been spiritual seekers for many years, or even coming into this new, it's like every morsel of our training is being used in these times for all the different things going on. And Catherine said it's an Iron Man. Yeah, that's right. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, we're being tested to really, really understand how the tools that we've been learning can be applied to our daily lives. And yeah, I'm just constantly blown away. Like, I feel like I'm grateful that this past 20 years, and I'm sure you feel probably the same, that all these years that we've been focused on, becoming a better person, learning how to manage our relationships better, take better care of our bodies and our minds, right? And our money. Like, even if we feel like we still have a long way to go in this moment, please, please, please be gentle and loving to yourself and acknowledge just how far you've come. And many times I don't think we really give ourselves that appreciation for like, oh yeah, I have actually come a long way, and I am actually in the perfect place right here, right now.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. It is so true. And every little bit that you have done up to this point is creating a momentum that will continue to serve you as you move forward. Mm-hmm. So keep doing it. I mean, we've watched each other evolve, right? And some of our friends that are on the call today, we've all come a long way, baby. Mm-hmm. And the whole situation in the last few months would have taken me out years ago. It would have been really difficult for me. And I'm not saying I haven't had difficulty or all, but like you said, each and every one of these tools I've been using them. I've been putting them to good use along the way, and I will continue to, because that's, to me, that is really what it's all about, is living our best lives with whatever is coming at us. Because if we wait till we go on vacation to have a life, we've we've missed some of those parts along the way, and so taking in what we can each and every day as best we can. Some days are better than others.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for being here today. I just remembered, and I will post this in the group, but while those who are still here listening, next week Jen Freeman is going to be here talking about human design. And if I had like 3 volunteers, you could private message me, you could put something in this feed and tag me, but let me know if you're interested in her, like a little 5 minutes of your chart as an example that she would be going through. So she'll probably do like 3 of those next week. So that's happening. And the series will be continuing. I'm probably going to be the one who's doing this series beyond that, at least through the time that the book comes out, because there's tons of things that I'd love to share with everyone about the book. Anything you want to say about the book, The Mindful Millionaire? Like Deanna? You've been with me this whole time.
Yeah, well, what I'd like to say about The Mindful Millionaire, first of all, I've had, early access to a variety of the versions, and I know you've been perfecting it along the way, but it sort of brings little tears to my eyes because people that will look at it, read it, I promise you, there will be a shift that that will really come in your viewpoint of how you've been looking not only at your money, because money's just one part, and that's the part, that's really the unique difference about what you've written, Leisa, is that this is really more of a life map, and we carry money throughout our lifetime, but how you manage your money may also be how you manage the way you eat or your relationships or all of those different things. And so as you create new insights into that, your life will be richer. Mm-hmm. And that millionaire, it's really about how you feel. And the money is also absolutely, we want to, our world requires that we need to go out and purchase things, and that's how we do the exchange. But it's really about how we feel. And this book will shift how you feel without a doubt. It has for me. I've been walking by Lisa's side, and there's been so much that has shifted for me from doing the work that she shares with you in this book. So if you don't have it, go get it. Buy some for your friends. Give them as gifts. Holidays are coming up, later in the year, birthdays or, whatever it is. Seriously, it's a book that everyone should have.
Thank you so much. And we talk about the fact that the next version might be exploring food, because you take out the word money, you insert the word food, and you have still a pathway that can be applied with different nuances. So this is great. And I see Gloria and Dottie. Thank you so much they already said yes with Jen Freeman. And then to reach out. Thank you, Catherine. She said, well said, Deanna. Reach out to Deanna with a private messenger, or if you can't do it for some reason, you can tag me and her, and we will see it in the notes and those in the replay as well. Because sometimes messenger works and sometimes it doesn't. So we will support you. We will get you in touch with Deanna, and this is great. And yeah, so thank you for being here, for being so awesome, for being a journeyer with me. That it's just such an honor, and the world's a better place because I know that you are just right there, and I can pick up the phone and call you. I'm kind of lucky that way, but you're getting some emails, so some folks are sending notes. Yes, so this is great. Yeah, I love you so much. I'm so glad that you're here.
You. Right back at you. So appreciate this opportunity, and while the world is kind of uncertain, if we get to all hang out together, it feels like a pretty cool world to live in, whatever happens.
I would agree with you. These connections are everything. So Thank you, everyone, for joining
Thanks,
us today, for giving us your comments. I hope that you feel good. I hope that you are in your body and feeling some new realizations as a result. I definitely feel really good. So thank you, Deanna.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.